Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about Aleman. And there's a person by the name of, and I hope I get this correct, Juan Ignacio Espindola. Juan Ignacio Espindola. Many months ago, he asked me to do a presentation on Aleman. And I got the preparation together. I did the research. I was ready to do it. And for some reason, I just didn't do it. So Juan, I apologize that this has taken so long to get to you. And for the rest of you, if you request something in the comments, and I tell you in the comments that I'm going to get to that, I will get to it. I cannot promise you when. There are so many different projects going on for me. I'm going in so many different directions. I can't make those kinds of promises, but I'll tell you what. I will do my best to get to what you're requesting. Now let's talk about Aleman. He was born Gilbert Salazar Aleman, January 20th, 1924. He crossed over August 29th, 1999, at the age of 75. He spent 40 years with the Merchant Marines at the rank of captain. 1949, in 1949, he started performing mentalism part-time. Now, he's a friend of Richard Himber and Dunninger. He was at Dunninger's bedside when Dunninger passed away. Now, I found something on the Magic Cafe. I'm not a regular on the Magic Cafe. I don't contribute there. I don't spend a lot of time there, but you know, I'm a huge fan of Richard Osterlin. So there's a message from a guy named Giacomo who writes to Richard Osterlin, actually on the forum, and he says, "I know you met Al and he was astonished about your stuff. I'd like to hear something about Al from you. Aleman is my favorite mentalist to read, and you're my favorite mentalist to watch." And I think that's, yeah. I mean, I would tend to. I think Richard Osterlin is absolutely fabulous. I just love Richard Osterlin, and Aleman is a genius. So he says, "I consider him the greatest thinker in mentalism history." So that's Giacomo, and that's what he said, and you can take or leave that. I particularly, when I think of contributions, I'm thinking in terms of Max Maven and Richard Osterlin himself. But Richard Osterlin responds. This is July 14th, 2005. And by the way, before I get too far into this, this right here, this would be Aleman. I think that is a wonderful publicity shot. It's kind of old school. It's very mentalism. You see the way he's got the hand up to the head here, and he's holding a crystal ball. I think it's just fantastic image. So that's the person that we're talking about, Aleman. By the way, also before I get into this, this is 2006library.com is where you can get this, the Aleman lecture. The problem with this is that he's doing a lecture in another country, and he needs an interpreter. And so you're seeing some wonderful magic, and you're seeing some wonderful material, but he speaks, and then there's interpretation, and so that's one of the problems with the lecture. But it's out there, it's available. By all means, pick it up. So anyway, back to Richard Osterlin. Al was a mariner for the great part of his life. He was used to rough living. His home was filled with prediction boxes, which he loved, and he had his own totem poles, or whatever he called them, in his yard. He was more of an inventor than a performer, and he could get irritated if someone called him out with a method that he partly exposed, probably because he knew the method was great, and he was upset that he didn't do it justice. So again, these are the words of Richard Osterlin. He was a great thinker, but sometimes could lose sight of the final goal because he would get caught up in small improvements. Don't we all? The lexicon phenomena, for instance, was much better in the original form than his later improved version, in my opinion, Richard says. Al sure didn't restrict his thinking. He put out a book mainly about billets, and then he would throw in how to make a cloud disappear or charm a cobra. Speaking about that, I once visited his house, and it was filled with anti-snakebite kits. My daughter asked him if it was a joke, and he explained that the year before his entire house was covered with poisonous snakes. Al was mainly a character. You never knew what he was going to say or do. Let me give you one final example. Once he came to visit me at my old house in Connecticut. He reached into a pocket and took out a small stone and shoved it into my hand. I asked him what it was, and he said, "It's a piece of Jesus' home." A piece of Jesus' house. I looked at him and said, "What?" He responded, "I was in Nazareth and went to the house where Mary and Joseph brought up Jesus. When no one was looking, I backed into a wall and broke off a piece of the stone, dropped it into my camera case, and I've been giving small pieces to close friends." So what do you say to that? I just put it away and said no more. Richard Osterlin. So, folks, that's a little bit about Al Mann. There's written materials, there's video materials out there to check it out. Many consider him to be a major contributor to the world and field of mentalism. So I hope you will check it out. By the way, from 1975 to 1997, he published over 82 books and manuscripts. 82, and most of those are available on library.com/Alman. Library is spelled Lybrary. And they will what you get there is primarily PDF downloads, but I got this from library.com as well, so there are other things you can buy there as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I apologize for the lateness of this post. I'm glad I finally got to it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment down below. Please subscribe if you've not done so already. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Have a great day.